Oh, all of a sudden, a lot of Canadian chatters being like, hey, why don't we go back to America? All of a sudden, you're like, I'm depressed. Can we talk about how stupid America is? What happened, Canadians? You don't like a healthy dose of your I gotta get the door, but before we do that, why living in Canada has become impossible?
I was skipping meals because I was struggling to afford
the skyrocketing cost of living.
I was skipping meals because I was struggling to afford my food and my rent.
2 million Canadians had to use the food bank in 1 month alone.
No wonder crime is rocketing after 8 years of Justin Trudeau.
Canada is worse than you think. Just 2 years ago, a simple 2-bedroom apartment in Toronto cost on average 2,400 Canadian dollars. Today, that's 3,300, an average increase of 25% per year, and that's not an outlier.
I just found out my rent's gonna be increased from $2,100 a month to $2,400 a month for a 1-bedroom condo in Toronto.
In most Canadian cities, you would need to earn at least double the minimum wage to afford a 1-bedroom apartment, and you can forget about buying. In major cities like Toronto and Vancouver, the minimum income that's required to qualify for a mortgage is double or triple the median household income. This makes buying even unattainable for—
You know why, chat? Communism. Communism. Chinese communism. Yeah. Everybody knows that's how it works. Please do not look at home ownership rates in former Soviet Eastern Bloc countries. Don't do it.
For the top 10% of earners, there is a housing crisis, a cost of living crisis, and now even an immigration crisis. This is a real change from the Canada I know and admire. What has happened?
It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change!
This is how living in Canada became impossible.
Whoa.
With hindsight.
Canadians from all across this great country sent a clear message tonight. It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change.
Justin Trudeau was first elected in 2015 with a message of positivity.
This is what positive politics can do.
He built his campaign on hope, and the media—
God, there's a lot of people that say, oh, what about a Pete Buttigieg presidency? What about a Gavin Newsom candidacy? Look no further than this dipshit if you want to understand what that looks like, okay?
often drew comparisons with Obama in the United States.
I want to say this. Many of you have worried that Canada has lost its compassionate and constructive voice in the world. Well, we're back.
On his first day in office, he entered a Montreal metro station to take selfies with commuters. The exchange went viral. The atmosphere was exuberant. There was a feeling of hope and positivity. Trudeau had the second highest approval rating of any new prime minister in Canada's history. To understand how his approval ratings have turned around so dramatically, why Canada is in a housing crisis, a cost of living crisis, and most surprisingly is now struggling with immigration, we need to go back in history. Canada is a nation of immigrants. In the mid-1800s, the population of Canada was almost entirely concentrated on the east coast, along the St. Lawrence River and the Great Lakes. To its west and north lay a vast and sparsely populated area that they wanted to populate. They used immigration as a tool to build their country. They attracted new people with a comprehensive marketing campaign. "Build your nest in Western Canada" was the message, calling it the New El Dorado. Boatloads of prospective migrants arrived in Canada and were vetted by migration.
Bro, you can't be like, please cover Canadian politics, and then when I cover Canadian politics, as a Canadian, I'm ashamed you're watching Canadian politics right now. Please look away. Don't worry. Under the Trump protectorate, we will invade and annex Canada permanently. Fear not, Canadians. You will get a healthy dose of that free market principles in terms of your health care that you yearn for. Albertans will be thriving. Albertans are going to be like, oh, hell yeah, finally we're a part of America. We no longer have to LARP as Texans. We can now officially move to Texas instead.
officers. They were particularly eager to attract talented farmers. They could help Canada's westward expansion by settling uninhabited areas. They built villages and turned them into cities, attracting commerce and industry, over time strengthening Canada's grip on the West. By 1920, population centers had emerged all along Canada's southern border.
Yeah, a land without a people for a people without a land, uninhabited. That's crazy. Famously, nobody was there. Nobody was there after we were done with it, but...
They grew from 3 million inhabitants.
That's pretty cool, dude. Canada, America's hat, doing America shit all the time, but gets away with it because America's so much worse. Large portion of Alberta is American descended or straight up burger. They want to be burgers so bad.
To 9 million. These immigrants were selected on merit, but also on race. Canada wanted to maintain the status of a white man's country. But after World War II, these discriminatory practices came under scrutiny. Canada started to build its modern immigration system. This was based on a points system. Prospective immigrants were scored based on their age, education, training, and language skills. The basic philosophy is that immigrants are selected based on their merit and what they can contribute to the country. This system is still in place in Canada today, making it the oldest immigration system of any country in the OECD. An early challenge was that an increasingly large percentage of newcomers were family members. In 1971, economic migrants made up 73% and family members 21%. But a decade later, this had turned around. Family members were seen as unproductive consumers of welfare benefits, and this prompted the government to make entry requirements stricter. By 1995, the percentage had dropped to 36%. Canada vested a lot of power in the federal executive branch of government, which makes it possible to respond quickly to unwanted flows of migrants. They kept identifying weak spots and making improvements.
When did the Ukrainian Nazis get there? Brother, their points were through the roof. You would get extra points if you were anti-communist. That's how it works. And who better? No one can prove their anti-communist bona fides better than a Nazi.
And by the early 2000s, the system was hailed around the world as one of the best. Even Donald Trump had good things to say about it.
Nations around the world, like Canada, have a merit-based immigration system.
But what was most impressive were Canada's exceptionally high levels of public acceptance. Immigration, until recently, wasn't a controversial issue. In 2018, 2/3 of Canadians believed that immigration was a good thing for their country, the highest level of any country in the OECD. But that wouldn't last.
Canadians are almost universally positively inclined towards immigration. We know that immigration is a source of strength and resilience and growth for our communities, and that's a wonderful thing we should be very, very proud of.
Public opinion on immigration has shifted dramatically during the last years, from people feeling overwhelmingly supportive to most people feeling concerned. During the first 4 years under Trudeau, the population grew at a record pace, mostly because of immigration. And it slowed during the pandemic. And that's where the problem started. Canada was facing a host of challenges. One of them was a shortage of workers. There were difficulties in all major sectors, from construction to healthcare. Companies were just unable to find the people with the right skills.
It's simple to me. Canada needs more people.
This was the new Minister of Immigration.
Canadians understand the need to continue to grow our population if we're going to meet the needs of the labor force.
Fraser, like many before him, saw immigration as a tool to fix specific issues. The worker shortage, but also demographics.
Immigration in Canada is not just something that we do, it's who we are. It's who we've always been.
All across the Western world, the population is aging, and that is an issue. But in Canada, it is extreme. In 1971, there were 7 people of working age for each senior. In 2012, this was down to 4. The projection is that there will only be 2 workers for every retiree by 2036. The number of Canadians that are over the age of 75 will double over the next 2 decades, while fewer people are entering the workforce.
If we don't do something to correct this demographic trend, the conversation we're going to have 10 or 15 years from now won't be about labor shortages. It's going to be about whether we have the economic capacity to continue.
Migration as the solution, not the problem. And in 2023, Canada's population grew with the fastest rate in almost 70 years. This was the fastest growing population of any country in the OECD. More extreme voices like the Century Initiative lobby to grow Canada's population to 100 million by the end of the century. The plan was endorsed by a former prime minister, and lobbyists included several advisors to Justin Trudeau and his cabinet members.
We have a population that is aging. We need people to arrive with their talents, with their hopes, with their dreams, with their capacities to work hard, to build our communities, to build our future.
Public opinion was shifting. Whereas in 2022, 27% of people believed that there was too much migration to Canada, in 2023, this was up to 51%. And in 2024, to 58%.
All right, well, behind me is the Take Back Canada March against mass immigration.
In July 2024, there were protests.
There's a lot of disaffected Canadians here who feel like the government has not been listening to them.
This was an unusual sight in Canada.
And what happens to the election in 2025? Is mass immigration going to become the main issue in the election, or are politicians going to try to run away from it like they seem to be doing right now?
In 2025, there are federal elections in Canada, and Trudeau might lose his seat.
2 broccoli heads was $11.44. $11.44 at Save On Foods in Langley.
Like, we have a serious problem here in Canada. Just came to $218. How?
The government likes to publish figures that show how the economy is growing. This is technically true, but the growth is primarily fueled by a growing population. Per capita growth is down, along with individual living standards.
This apartment is 750 square feet, and I pay $4,300 a month.
People are...
Bro, this is a joke country, and it's the same in America too, man. The Western world is so dumb. Like, that's it. Dude, just housing. Just fix housing. That's it. You fix housing, you will win forever, okay? Please, like, one industry should die. Just one. I know that the Democrats are so, and the liberals in Canada, or not the liberals, what's the Justin Trudeau's party? Or is Justin Trudeau's party the Liberal Party? Is that what it was called? Oh yeah, I forget that Canada is too close to America. Normally in European countries, the liberals are the conservatives, but Canada is too close to America, so that's why they still call themselves the liberals. They do have NDP though, yeah, but NDP also has a litany of different issues and are too invested in aligning with the liberals. Okay, listen to me. It's free. It's free 99, dude. One of these industries has to die. Okay, it's either in America, it could be healthcare, like insurance. It could be housing, real estate developers and the like, and big renters. It could be college, like something. Okay, something's got to give. You got to be like, listen, we're going to keep getting donors from every other industry, but this one industry we have to cut. You have to cut them from the coalition of corporate donors and fix it. That's it. And same in Canada. Any party that just goes, nah, f it, like, I'm fixing housing, let me at them, they will win forever. Mexico goes all in on housing, 1 million new homes, 0 interest mortgages. Okay, dude, stop. Yes. I feel like hella Latinos are going to be like, oh, I'm going to Mexico. You don't have to deport me. I'm going. Yeah. Me right here, sir. Deport me to Mexico. It's craziness.
They're working 3 jobs just to live in this city. It's actually crazy, and they're still struggling to pay their bills.
There is a clear mismatch between how fast Canada's population is growing and how long they need to supply housing and service infrastructures like healthcare and schools. This affects all layers of society, but this is most acutely visible in the cost of housing.
Okay, we need to talk rent increases because this is getting out of hand.
Would you pay $800 a month to share a bed with a stranger? That's what this Vancouver listing is offering.
That's, oh my God. Amazing. Amazing.
The most vulnerable people are people with little to spare, like students. a story broke about 25 students that were living in one basement in Brampton, and it went viral. The mayor of the city responded that they've seen cases like these on a regular basis.
Like this landlord who's renting out 6 beds on the floor with dividers between them for $325 each.
The number of temporary residents, which includes temporary workers but also international students, have increased dramatically. In 2022, they numbered 1.4 million, and in 2024, this had doubled to 2.8 million. Public opinion had now turned against Canadian immigration policies, and for the first time, it had become a controversial topic. Trudeau, with elections coming up, needed to act.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is promising a massive federal program to deal with the housing crisis in Canada.
So today, we are releasing the most comprehensive and ambitious housing plan ever seen in Canada.
He put Sean Fraser, former Minister of Immigration, in charge of housing.
I know we're going to solve the housing crisis because I know what Canadians are capable of.
These decisions were vilified in the comment section on YouTube. It's crazy that people believe the guy that got us into this mess is the guy that's gonna get us out. Too little, too late. You cannot be the solution to the problem you created.
The reality is different parts of the country have seen different challenges. In addition to population growth,
Dude, it's the same story every single time, dude. It's the same story. No immediate fixes to the housing shortage. No controls whatsoever to a massive material harm that people are experiencing. And then you're like, oh, but we also need migrants to come in so we can, have more labor force, which is understandable. There's a normal desire that every country has. That's what has kept America alive, okay, as well. So then people go, oh, it's the migrants' fault that I don't have a home or my housing prices are so high. Oh, it's the same in Europe. It's the same everywhere. Every single Western capitalist nation has gone through this exact same problem. The more people suffer financially, the more they feel like their nation is no longer prosperous. The more there is income and wealth inequality, the angrier they get. And what's the easiest vector to get that anger out on? It's people that don't look like you. It's people that you're kind of primed to hate anyway. Great stuff. 1 million Tyler Hitler Veras for every Western nation. So much sentiment that Indian people are responsible for rising housing prices, and it's turned into this racist crusade against Indian immigrants. Oh my God. Tyler Hitler Oliveira watching and is on his way to Canada by tomorrow. Yeah. I'm like, I'm at the town that Indians took over. Just going up to Indian Canadians and being like, do you speak English? And everywhere's like, yeah. He's going to have a dude with a Toronto accent and he's going to be like, I need an interpreter to understand what you're saying. I'm cheesing, fam. India's national language is English. That's the joke, man. That's the joke I'm making. You are repeating back to me. Like he is racist, so he thinks brown guy doesn't speak English. When in fact, most Indians do. God damn it, dude. Excuse me, sir. Have you ever considered that jokes, especially because of my inability to understand them, can come across as reactionary? Bro thought jokes would fly. Yeah. Sir, have you ever considered that maybe jokes are ableist to those who are neurodivergent?
There have been supply chain constraints that have driven up the cost of building. We're trying to address a 30-year lack of investment in affordable housing, and we're soon going to hit a bottleneck with the productive capacity of the Canadian workforce to build the homes we need.
Fraser is in an awkward position. Perhaps letting in 9 million new Canadians before homes were built for them had a little to do with this problem.
Yeah, everyone is like, nah, it's the migrants, dude, for sure. For sure, dog. Yeah, no, the housing situation was totally fine. It was so good before the migrants came in. Like, all of these landlords were so gracious. Yeah, this video, I don't know who the sent this video to me, but this video has a little bit of a slant, and I don't personally like the slant that this video is giving me.
A majority of people now disagreed with immigration policies. They were angry and frustrated by the cost of living crisis, and immigrants felt that they were unfairly portrayed as the cause of the problem.
This is the sentiment of every single Canadian, by the way. Ugh, I know. It's everywhere in the Western world, man. It's everywhere in the goddamn Western world. I checked the YouTube channel. This dude is obsessed with immigration being out of control. Who the fuck sent this goddamn video to me? Someone in the chat sent this to me a couple days ago, and they were like, you have to watch the video. It's so good. Ugh. Ugh.
Miscalculated the how much immigrants they want. They miscalculated how much housing they have, how much they could accommodate over here, and now they are blaming all it on us.
Trudeau's approval rating dropped in September 2024 to just 33%, and only 26% favored him as the Prime Minister. He had to turn this around.
Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. In a moment, Minister Miller will be detailing our immigration plan. Before he does, I want to say a few things. Canadians are justifiably proud of our immigration system. It has made our economy the envy of the world. It's how we've built strong, diverse communities. It's how we...
This literally, I mean, at least he's like still defending the concept of migration. But like, you need to start the conversation with like housing prices.
We've demonstrated that differences can and must be a source of strength, not a source of weakness for communities and society. Today,
yeah, no, he is still to the left of Kamala Harris. Borders are.
We're announcing that we will reduce the number.
Oh my God, I spoke too soon. Oh, God forbid we fix the landlord problem. Oh no, of course. No, I spoke too soon. Oh my God. Oh, this is literally, this is it, okay? This is it. You fix housing, you win permanently. You don't fix housing, every Western nation is Adolf Hitler. You got two options, okay? Two options. Fix the housing crisis or Adolf Hitler. And I'm not really comfortable with that dynamic because a lot of people are just like, nah, let's do Adolf Hitler. Like so many are like, nah, actually the Adolf Hitler thing seems sick. In America, there are dudes who literally said Trump is a lot like Hitler, and that's why I voted for him, okay? Just remember, to be fair, companies were using immigrants as cheap labor. Yeah, how is that the immigrants' fault, man? Okay, there you go. Fix that. You can fix that as well. Labor protections for migrants.
Of immigrants we bring in over the next 3 years, which will result in a pause in the population growth over the next 2 years.
By the way, the Trudeau Liberals have been 100% YIMBY for years now, and their YIMBYism has not put a dent in the housing costs at all. It almost feels like you need to build social housing rather than just housing across the board and just be like, you can set the prices whichever way you want, sirs. Those are just normal market conditions. Duh. That's how it works. I don't get it. Yeah. YIMBYs be like, we need a public-private partnership.
2 years.
Trudeau announced that they'll change course. They'll lower the number of new arrivals to slow population growth. He admitted he was wrong.
We didn't get the balance quite right.
When he took office, there was already a 3-decade-long lack of investment in affordable housing. There were building challenges and supply chain issues, but as PM, he bears the burden of responsibility. It was his choice to allow entry to such large numbers of immigrants, growing the population and adding pressure to...
People will be like, oh, rent control doesn't work. People then don't like do more development because everything is geared towards capitalism. And it's like, yeah, I don't want private companies to do the development. I want a public jobs program. Okay, government funded, good paying, decent wages, good benefits, a pension plan for everybody to build houses. Get to work. Okay, get the to work. Get to work. Big dog, you're sitting around online, getting sweaty, getting fat, growing out that goddamn neck beard. Your ass is covered in acne from sitting on the same crusty ass gamer chair. Talking about, these immigrants are coming over and taking the jobs that I want to take. Get the to work, dude. You're going to like it. You're going to get paid a shit ton and you're going to build houses. Okay? That's it. In the words of Britney Spears, you better work, bitch. Government housing. Government housing. Okay? Stop all foreign aid for a government-funded housing program. Stop all foreign aid for a government housing. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a good way. We already have a jobs program. It's called the American Military, okay? I bet you would be way happier building homes than, you know, going out there and having their dick shot off, controlling key resources for CIA black budget programs like poppy fields, you know? What's better? The thrill of blowing up an Afghan village with air support or building houses? No, housing safety requirements are the issue. I could build so many houses if I didn't have safety requirements. Yeah, you're right. The real problem is I can't build dog shit houses that crumble. I mean, look at Florida, man. They're doing that over there. It's pretty good. They cut through that red tape real quick. Dude, let me tell you, I want ghost cities, okay? I want Chinese-style ghost cities. Those were doing tricks out there. They were literally building cities that look like Paris and shit. That was a flex, okay? They were like, "Oh, is housing is housing a human right, or is it an asset simply to be traded in the market?" And at first everyone's like, "Oh, it's an asset to be traded in the market." Nope. No, it's not. Guess what, bitch? Housing is for living in it, okay? That's what it's for. Wrong. I want ghost cities, okay? I want so much housing. I want so much housing that we have ghost cities and we're like, what's going on? We do have ghost cities in America, by the way. It's just, those aren't new cities that were built and are now becoming populated. It's just old towns that were industry towns that relied on whatever that key industry was that off when manufacturing went away. So let's make some ghost cities to put people in.
To the housing market. The affordability of housing and the cost of living in general are very visible signs of a deteriorating living standard. In 2019, 19% of Canadians felt that Canada was extremely unequal. That is now up to 38%. To the question whether the cost of living is now worse, the number rose from 66% in 2019 to 84% in 2024. And I'm still just scratching the surface. Canada. This was a real change. I hope that you learned something or found this video entertaining. Yesterday...
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I learned how bad the housing is, but I also learned that, you know, Canadians are blaming the same shit that we are over here. It's goddamn immigrants, brother. Big drop in immigration targets will cut population, reduce the need to build more homes, Ottawa says. Nice.
A new report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives lays out a deeply troubling picture of housing in Canada. In every province west of Quebec, the average number of hours at minimum wage required to make rent is at least 80. Think about that for just a second. That means minimum wage isn't even...
No wonder these want to separate, dog. What the hell? I'm back on it. I'm back on it, dude. I'm back on it, dude. Separate my beautiful Quebec. I'm Kexit. I'm Kexit, dude. Quebexit. Vive Quebec libre.
Isn't even enough to cover half of...
Yeah. Give Alberta to the United States of America. Okay. It's already here. Spiritually, it's ours anyway. Like mentally, we've already taken over. Might as well just make it permanent, you know, Goal on Heights style.
Of your average living expenses. And it's gotten worse over recent years. There isn't a single province where the minimum wage is enough for the rent on a one-bedroom apartment. And in several provinces like BC and Alberta, it's not enough by nearly half. And when you break it down by cities, it gets even worse. In Vancouver right now, the minimum wage is $15.65. But in order to afford a one-bedroom rental, you would need to be making $32.36 an hour. In Toronto, $15.50 and $33.62. These are not cities that people can live in. If you can't afford to live there off of the money you make working there, what's the point? And the problem isn't just one of pricing, it's also one of availability. In the vast majority of the cities looked at, they're saying,
oh, all of a sudden, a lot of Canadian chatters being like, hey, why don't we go back to America? You wanted me to cover Canadian politics for weeks on end, and then when I start talking about it, it gets real for you, huh? All of a sudden, you're like, I'm depressed. Can we talk about how stupid America is? What happened? What happened, Canadians? You don't like a healthy dose of your...
Simply were not affordable places available. There are basically 0 2-bedroom units available in an affordable range and almost no 1-bedroom units either. And this affects a huge number of people. There are 828,000 people living in Canada right now off of minimum wage in single-income households. 1.13 million people doing the same off of 2-income households. A massive portion of our population is living insecurely because they simply can't afford a home, even though they are potentially working full-time. Which raises the important question, what even is the point of a minimum wage if it isn't a livable wage? If the minimum wage that you make for working 40 hours in a week isn't enough to pay for rent, groceries, and the basic necessities of life, then why aren't we raising the minimum wage? Why are we requiring people to work more than 100 hours a week in Vancouver, Toronto, Kelowna, Victoria, Ottawa, Halifax, and Calgary in order to have a place to live? This is the sign of a country that is not prioritizing housing. It is prioritizing profiting off of housing. So we're not...
It's literally the same. Dude. Everyone is so... Everywhere is the same exact damn issue, bro. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh... We are so stupid. We need communism now. We need communism yesterday. We need communism tomorrow. Decommodify housing. Decommodify it. It's so goddamn holy shit. It's just so... Americans don't even have healthcare. We don't even have healthcare, dude. It's so bad. Oh, dear leader Xi Jinping, please save us. Donald Trump, save me. Xi Jinping, save me. Save me, Xi Jinping. Like, how dire is the situation that people literally look to these alarming housing prices and go, you know what we got to do? Deport migrants. Like, that's Donald Trump's policy prescription. He's like, yeah, we're going to deport 20 million undocumented immigrants, dude. And that'll open up the housing for sure. Like, they're not landlords, dumbass. Unless every undocumented immigrant was a landlord, you're not fixing shit. You understand me? Like, what are we talking about? Unless every single undocumented migrant was also a big landlord, you're not fixing it. You do a better job deporting like BlackRock executives than goddamn migrants. Yeah, deport the landlords, dude. You're missing the point. Canada doesn't deport like the US of A. It's not documented versus undocumented immigrants. What the No, in America it is. In Canada, it's just migrants. Documented migrants. But it comes from the same place, chatter. The difference between a documented or undocumented migrant is just literally paperwork. You understand? The notion that it's their fault that the housing prices look like this is coming from the same racist place. That's my point. Is fear of the other. Simply put. Yes, the issue Canada has isn't about illegals. Oh my God. There is nothing that is fundamentally different between the humanity of an undocumented migrant and a documented migrant. You understand that? I guess you're not understanding about. It's about putting priority on companies owning what? Versus building affordable homes.
We're not going to build affordable housing. We're not going to raise wages. So where are people supposed to go? There is no plan to help people. And until there is, this is only going to get worse.
Republicans' housing problem is that their neighbor is brown? No, that's not true. Okay, what about the brown Republicans that voted for the Republicans? Oh, you can't... You're operating on the old dynamic, chatter. You know? Ultimately, this is an EU issue too. I know. Ugh. I know. This video is actually fantastic. I've watched it on stream before. I love this video. It's one of my favorite videos. But I'm not going to watch it right now. This is what Australia has come to. Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, this is... Well, Australians... that's my goat, dude. Are you kidding me? This guy's amazing. He identifies abandoned houses and puts it up for squatters to go live in.
people find vacant homes where it's 15 years.
Well, Australians are living through the worst housing crisis, and now it could.
This is a Western world problem, possibly whole world problem. No, the is not. No, dog, this is not a whole world problem at all. It's a capitalist problem, and every country that exists in some way, shape, or form under this like hyper focus on homeowners making turning profit or increasing their net worth. What am I? Dude, my brain is busted right now. It's a profit problem. Okay? It's not a problem in China. Dare I say, it's not even really a problem in like countries like former Soviet Eastern Bloc nations where home ownership rates are like 90%. You said it better. In Eastern Bloc countries, nope. It's not. Polish housing market gets worse and worse. Same with food prices, and we also blame the migrants. Yeah. Purple Pingers is the guy.
Could be about to get worse.
The likes we've never seen before in this, the lucky country.
Housing affordability is as bad as it's ever been.
Too many people, not enough homes.
Yes, you heard them. Australia's housing crisis is severe. Adverse possession is a complex legal area in Australia where a squatter might not be breaking the law if they enter a property that looks abandoned and the doors are unlocked. However, if the door is locked, the squatter could be charged.
China's real estate market is though. Yeah, dude, great. Who cares? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care at all. I'm telling you right now, I don't care. I do not care about people not being able to do passive income off of home ownership. I don't give a shit. It's a gamble. Okay? Every asset is a gamble at the end of the day. It's ridiculous that because of the dual use of homes, we just have this attitude because of like wanting to make sure that every single person has a home. We've set it up in a way where like your housing value doesn't depreciate, and there's a shit ton of protections for home ownership, and people basically utilize that to become landlords. And every homeowner in this goddamn nation, with the exception of people like myself and maybe some others, see their house as a means of increasing their net worth year over year. This is something that I've described time and time again. It's like, that's not how this works, man. Your home is your home, okay? Your home is not a financial asset for you to constantly increase your net worth year over year. It's ridiculous. And this is for people who live in their homes, by the way. Because there's a lot of landlords out there. There's a lot of people who like own a shit ton of homes and rent them out. Okay. But outside of that, there's also, owned and operated homes, people who live in their own homes, and they tie their entire net worth to that home price going up over and over and over again, year over year. They take mortgages out. They use it as leverage. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Doing asset speculation on something that is required to live is insane. I feel like but of course, in the Western world, I'm the crazy one, okay? I am the insane person, and everyone else is sane. Even renters, they literally look at me like, no, dog, you don't understand. One day I'm going to own a house. No, you're not. You are not owning a house ever, okay? Shut the fuck up. Stop advocating against your best interests. You're a renter. Do you know? Do you understand? You're a renter, and you're going to rent for the rest of your goddamn life. Do you like that? Do you enjoy that? Why the fuck are you advocating for this? The only solution to the homelessness crisis and housing market crisis in this country and in every other Western nation is straightforwardly decommodifying housing. Like, you're not part of the reason they're so high. Maybe less flexing, more affordable housing. You're literally supporting this system by flexing on Twitch. Hope this helps. Doesn't his own hypocrisy bother him? Wait, what? Oh, are you in the right chat? What are you talking about? Twitch chatters talking about getting real estate one day when they can't get a girlfriend and eventually wife to co-sign the mortgage. You're flexing on Twitch for subs while complaining about home prices? What? Flexing on Twitch for subs? Like flexing my muscles for subscriptions? Like that? Is that what you're saying? Isn't housing a basic human right? It is, but it's not treated like that. Yeah. Chatters, every time you subscribe to me, the median home price goes up in the United States of America in your own town. Okay? That's how it works. I don't make the rules. Every time you gift a sub, it goes up whichever the amount the subscription gift looks like. Stop. Spike Spiegel, Reliable Randy, you're increasing the median home price by 5x, dude. Don't do it. No. Zoantharian, Asian Daru, Akabidi 20, Hazmat with the 5. Stop it. I don't even know what the fuck that chatter was trying to say. You monsters, you started a hype train. This is what's wrong with this country. Man. It's Jover. FPS Hannah, you did it. Zylax with a 20 gifted. Single-handedly making y'all poorer. Oh my Lord. High levels of immigration put strain on pre-existing economic issues solely because there are more people for the government to fail. Same thing happens with high birth rates, which these anti-immigration dipshits love. I wonder what their difference is. Exactly. But also, in a weird way, given the low birth rates, they need immigrants to do the labor anyway. So what do? Supposed to, I guess, let the economy collapse. This is why I always say the real problem is the never-ending profit seekers in the housing sector. If you don't solve that, it doesn't matter. You get more babies, you get more immigrants, it doesn't fucking matter. Nothing's gonna change. All right, we're gonna get back to America now. I'm done shitting on Canada.